Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Menachos Daf Kuf Hey. We're going to start in Daf Kuf Dal Tamud Beis, and the two dots on the bottom. Says the Gemara, person can bring any mincha that he wants out of the 5 menachos that are mentioned in the Torah. So Rebbe says, so Rabbi Yehuda says, Yavi minchas hasoilas. He should bring the minchas hasoilas. Shehi miyuchedes sheba menachos. So the Gemara explains, what does it mean? Ho'ilu miyuchedes sheba menachos. Tana ho'ilu pasach bo yakosu v'tchila. The first mincha that the Torah speaks about is the mincha of soilas. What's the minchas hasoilas? Minchas hasoilas is you bring the soilas, the fine flour, you put it in oil, you put it in levoina, and you bring it to Mizbeach. That's the first mincha mentioned in the Torah. If you go based on the first, someone said, I'll bring oil. Yavi ben Bakr, he has to bring a calf. Because that was the first one that we mentioned. Minatzoin, if it says I'm going to bring a korban minatzoin, so Yavi ben Kevis is going to have to be, Yavi Kevis has to be a sheep, not a goat. Mina oif, birds, Yavi toivim, is going to have to bring that, the older doves. Why does it say in the Mishnah? It says you bring a sheep. You don't bring the first one the Torah mentioned. So you see from here, the fact that the Torah mentioned one first doesn't make it first. It says the Gemara, and we learned over there. Bring a bird. But like Paul doesn't argue. According to Rabbi, you should always go with the first. And meaning from all the menachos, this is the one that's called the mincha. Minchas machvas is called minchas machvas. Minchas macheshes is called minchas macheshes. Minchas mafetana is called mafetana. This one is called mincha. Doesn't have any other name. Same about Tana will pasuk b'akosov tchilo koma. Hi, but here the Gemara says pasuk b'tchilo. That's the first one. That's the reason. So the Gemara koma. Ezu mincha miyuchedes sheba menachos the leis l'shem levai. Which is the menachos that is special, that doesn't have a additional name. That's his name. So the one that Torah starts first. So of course, why did I just say this special? So Simon Belma, just give you a simon. How do you remember which one is it? And why have to tell me the first one the Torah mentioned? That's not the reason. So if that's the reason, I'm telling you this is the reason I'm giving you this mincha. But we're saying this is not the reason. So why do I call it? Why do I have to tell me this? That's the first one the Torah mentioned. The answer is because it's a Simone B'Almon. From here, the Mefarshim should point out that you see from here, you do Simonim. We've seen throughout Shas many times. There's another marker. You bring a simon. You say, I'll tell you which one to use. The first one mentioned in the Torah, even though that's not the reason, but the simon. Simon is also something to use. So the Gemara mincha minha mincha. Right? So we said that if he said mincha or mina mincha, he brings one. Says the one boya papa mine mincha ma. What happens if he says mine mincha plural? Kevan dama mine taitikama. Says mine it's two. My mincha the kula mincha is tamo mincha mikrin. All the minchas are called mincha. Leave the Zohar starts the mincha referring to all of them. So the fact that the Gemara basically has a problem. It's a contradiction within his words. He says mine, that's plural. Says mincha, it's single. So what are you saying? We're saying because mincha is a generic name to mention all the menachos, and then I have mine, which is loshen rabim. You have to bring two. Maybe it means only one mincha. Umay mine mincha. Hi says mine loshen rabim. From the plural, selection of minchas, one of them will be your mincha. Let's look at the Mishnah. The Mishnah says he said mincha, or he said min mincha, you bring one. Mashma ha mini mincha. If he said loshen rabim shtayim, that's a mashma. Let's look at the next part of the Mishnah. Menachos min menachos. If he said menachos plural, you have shtayim. Ha mini mincha chado. There's no raya from here. Meaning, you can play around with it. There's no raya. Tashma. Min menachos alai yavi shtei menachos b'min echad. If he said min menachos, so he has to bring two menachos. Hamimine mincho. Mashavi says mine mincho. Chado. So we're learning from this brayso. So well, no, Dilma mine mincho mevi shtei menochas b'shtei minim. Mine menachos is two different types. If it says min menachos, you bring two menachos with the same type. So more about Tani Achi. We don't learn this way. It says min menachos alai mevi shtei menachos min menachot. Min menachos alai mevi shtei menachos shtei minim. So only if he says both plural, mine and menachos, then I bring two from two different types. Ha mine mincho chado. So clearly not like we just said. So we learned earlier in the Masechta that we have the sheet of Reb Shimon that holds that in the mincha that you bring from what's called mincha ma'afetanu, you put things into the oven. There's two types of breads that you could do. One is called chalus, one is called rikikim. So the chalus are the ones that you bake you bake them earlier. Rikikim you do a little later, and you make wafers out of it. It's a little different type of baking it. So according to Reb Shimon, you could bring one mincha, which is half chalus, half rikikim. We'll see more about it in a moment. So what does it mean? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about according to Reb Shimon. Umay mine mincha these betray meaning. Meaning, according to Reb Shimon, you're right. Your diuk is a good diuk. The Mishnah says, you learn min menachos, you bring two of the same min. Mine menachos, you bring two of two different meaning. So what do you do with the mine mincha? So the idea is a good idea. The mine mincha has to be something in between. What's something in between? According to Reb Shimon, I have something in between. I bring one mincha that has two kinds. You can bring it's mine mincha. It's two and one. Which one? Who holds you can bring two types in one? Reb Shimon. Shimon holds I can bring one mincha. There's two types in it. Part of it will be chalus, part of it will be rikikim. Rabbanon disagree with Reb Shimon. That's only if you have that option. According to Reb Shimon, I basically have three options. I can bring one mincha. I can bring two menachos of the same min. I can bring two menachos of two different minim, and I can bring a mincha that has two. So then I can say that's the difference between mini mincha and mini menachos. But according to Rabbanon, I don't have that option. Mini menachos will be two, so there's no raya for me. Okay. Here's the one that says pirashti vein yudei ma pirashti b'chamishtom. He says I'm bringing a type of mincha. I don't remember which one, so he has to bring all five. Man Tano, who's the one who says it? Don't have Yirmi or the loy Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon kivan do ma mechza chalus umechza mirkikim yovi. According to Reb Shimon, that there is an option to do a partial mincha coming of chalus, coming of rikikim, right? Even though if you hold like a Yehuda, they have mincha comes 10 pieces. What I mean, when I have to bring different breads, chalus or rikikim, I have to bring 10 of each. The Rashid Gubetis points out that Rameir holds it to bring 12 of each. Even though we spoke that about Chor Lechem Apanim, but he learns it as Nuget to everything else as well. So even if you hold a computer that's always going to be 10, how do you divide it? Now, here comes a Chiddush that we didn't see before, as Rashi points out. So when we said according to Reb Shimon, I can bring one mincha that's partially chalus and partially rikikim, how do I split it? How do I split between it? So until now we thought, okay, half chalus, half rikikim. This is more no. According to Reb Shimon, it can be maybe 6 and 4, it can be 7 and 3, it can be 2 and 1, it could be 2 and 8, it could be 9 and 1. It could be split any way possible. So it says the Gemara, where now a person says, I don't know which mincha I said I'm going to bring. So you have 5 types. You have soilis, you have machvas, you have marcheshes. Then you have 2 more. What are the 2 more? One is chalus only, one is rikikim only. Very nice. That's according to Rabbanon. But according to Reb Shimon, I could bring a combination of chalus and rikikim. And what combination can I bring? Well, I have all the options, 9-1, 8-2, 7-3, etc. So it says the Gemara, even if you hold there's only 10 pieces you bring, you still can bring 14. Why 14? Because they bring the first 4, right? And then as look at Lashon Rashi, just to see it inside. Soilis umachvas marcheshes arigimu. Umichas mafe ika chadis is fakes. Could be 11. Because dima kula chalis no dar. Could be only chalis. V'shema teisha chalas achad yokik. So shmone chalas shir kikim. Chagru lechalas shir lekikim. Ad shema kula rekikim. Avi yudalef. So from chalas to rekikim, I have 11 options. Chalas is in one end. Rekikim is in the other end. And then I have another 9 options in between, which is 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 7, 4 and 6, 5 and 5, 6 and 4, etc. Going down. So according to Shimon, you see that our Mishnah doesn't work because the Mishnah just said that you're bringing what? That you're bringing only 5. By Omar, I feel Tamor of Shimon. Shimon Omar Maisiu Matri. So I'll tell you why. You bring it as a Tanai. How you bring it as a Tanai? So Rashi explains. Maisi Shtei Menachos. Bring 2. Chadash has a Chalas, Chadash has a Rekikim. One is Chalas, one is Rekikim. Boimer, he says at night. In Kula Chalos, or Kula Rekikim Nadarti. If it's all Chalos, all Rekikim, or Nadarti telling Nidri, Vacheres Tenedov. He said one, I don't know if it's all Chalos or Rekikim. According to Shimon, it's for sure not both. That's the sideboard. It's either all Chalos, or it's all Rekikim, or it's a combination of both. So he says, if it's all Chalos, here's the 4th one. The Rekikim is in a dove. If it's all Rekikim, here's the 5th one is the one, and the 4th one is in a dove. No problem. What we can do is you take 10 and 10, and you make a condition, make it tonight. It's either 10 to this, 10 to this, or any other combination. How do we know that you can make it 9? The Tanya. This is, if you remember, this was a complicated sugi that we had in Menachos Zvachim. But let's see the Rosh Prakim over here. We talk about someone who is a Suffolk Nazir and Suffolk Mitzayra. So we right now, when he's coming, he needs to. He has to bring a carbon. Either he's bringing a carbon as a Nazir, as a Mitzayra, or he's bringing a carbon Shlavim. So what do you do? So it says of Shimon the next day when he has to bring that Suffolk, he brings a Shamoy, carbon Hasham, with like a Mitzayra, the Lugoi with the base, Imoy with the oil. He says that night. Look, if I'm a Mitzayra, so here is my Osham and look. If not, Osham Zay Yeshal Min Adava, it'll be a Shlamim. For Osham, Ton Shchita B'Tzofan, you have to shecht in the north, even though usually Shlamim you don't have to do in the north. But here it's a maybe a Shlamim, so you do in the north. Umatan Me'oimis, and you have to take the oil and put it on the thumbs of the Tzayra, and like a Mitzayra. V'smicho, leaning in it. V'nesachim, you have to have them in the wine. You have to raise it up. That's like what? That's like shlamim. You do all the pool of shlamim. Like Osha. And only the male Kohanim can eat it, and it's only Yom V'layla. So we said over there that he does a condition. That's what we said. The Alpha to come nafik mar b'shchilas kosher. B'shchilas kosher refers to the Perek Mesechus Zvachim. We spoke about it. And we said over there, the only reason Shimon agreed to do these conditions is only because a person is stuck. If not, he won't be. He will not. He needs to be not stopping a mitzvah. But the I don't do lechatchilo to do tnoim. There, what's going on? You bring a korban. You're not sure if it's a shlom or asham. So how long can I eat it? If it's a shlom, I can eat it for 2 days and a night. If it's asham, I can eat it only for 1 day and a night. So I'm doing something which is a little bit wrong. I'm eating only for 1 day and a night, and I may be cutting short the amount of time you can eat it. That's why the chatchila you should not do it. Right? Down the kotchel, base of soul. You're causing kotchel, they become possible, meaning if you don't finish them on time. Aval menachos, if you chatchila, but menachos, all menachos are eating for the same amount of time. You never eat it for 2 days and a night. So if so, I don't know how to do it tonight. So it says the Gemara asks a question. Gemara said, according to Shimon, that chalus and kikim could have to come with a combination, and you can make 7 of one and 3 of the other. So why don't I bring that as one of the options? So the Gemara, I'm bringing 10 and 10. I'm doing a condition, I'm doing it today, and then you can combine them together. Says the Gemara, okay. Philip Shim, that's the Bach adds. Meltzer Kikim Yovi. Hakamaisi Soren Echad Mishtei Soren. For Lug Echad Mishtei Lugim. So, well, yeah, but I have a problem with that. Because you are, now that you're bringing, you have to do all these conditions. Because we said we're doing a Tanoim, but you're going to bring now two Yisroinus. I mean, you're doing a combination. So I'm bringing now, I have I'm bringing Chalas and Mekikim, and I'm saying a Tanai that it should work together. That's what Chalas and Mekikim mean. But if I'm doing that, I'm taking a little bit of a Soren from, if the Tanai is telling you, I'm either, let's call it the Chalas is series A, and Mekikim is series B. So either it's A alone, or B alone, or a combination of both. So the combination of both, Isarin is one measurement of flour, of fine flour. If I'm doing a combination of both, I'm taking one measurement partially from series A and partially from series B. One understands, can you do such a thing to combine it? So says the Gemara, and also the same thing with the lug, with the oil, partially from the first series, partially from the other series. So that's the one who's asking. So according to Shimon, thinking one is Soren out of two. Says the Gemara, Shimon Shimon Omar imivi Soren echad mishnei Sorenis. Lug echad mishnei lugim yotza. Shimon, oh, that's fine. Rashi says, I don't know where Shimon said that. If you look at Rashi says, towards the bottom of the Omar, Shimon Omar maybe mincho vivi shtei Sorenim v'shlei shnugim. He brought two Yisrael to Lugim. Homa chetzer shel zeh v'chetzer shel zeh l'chevasi. V'ashar nedova yotza v'lo yisparish lo nechos. This is what I don't know where this is. Tosfos wants to say that maybe you learn from the fact that Shimon learns the midas yovish lo niskachon. So if I don't have a kiddush on a kli, so that's why, of course, I can come and combine it. Okay. But Labaisa, what do you see from here? You see that according to Shimon, so Gemara says you have to, you combine them both. So well, okay. You answer me that question. How do I take Menachos from two? I take a Luke from two. But Mikvat Seichi Komitz, how do I do Kmitza? Kmitza you have to do from one. How do you do Kmitza from both? Says the Gemara, the Matni Bomb. He says the same thing with Kmitza. You do it at night. Ichals lechudayu, very kicking lechudayu, Amri. So if I said each one on its own, the Kmitza mechales, they have a chales. The Kmitza from chales will be on chales. If it's two separate ones are not going to get each other, so the kmitza of doing chalas will be in chalas. Kmitza of doing rikik will be in rikik. If he's doing half and half, that's why I said the kmitza chalas they have a mertza chalas umertza rikik. In other words, he's coming and doing kmitza. He's saying either this kmitza is working on this series only, and doing kmitza from the chalas, either it's working on the chalas only. What's working in the combination of chalas and rikikim? Says the Gemara, what do you mean? If I'm doing a kmitza from the chalas, and I'm saying this will work on the combination, so I'm not doing a kmitza for both chalas and rikikim. Isn't that a chisar? Says the Gemara, and you're doing from chalas to rikikim chalas. We heard Shimon that said, in commands, Shimon holds that if he went and he had chalas rikikim and he did kmitza and he opens his hands and he sees, hey, I got only chalas in my hand, I don't have rikikim, that's good. So meaning when I have a combination of chalas rikikim, the kmitza maybe ideally should be from both, but each one on their own works for both. And that's the case over here. I have chalas, I have rikikim, and I'm saying it tonight that they may be together, and I'm doing kmitza for one, work of both. Says the Gemara, 1 second, what do you do with the leftover oil? What's the problem? So this we learned earlier as well. I think we just go back to that. If I have a mincha, which is chalos and rikikim together, I take the oil, I put it, I do I put the oil, I mix the oil, and and then you spread some of the oil on the wafers. What do you do with the rest? I put in the chalas. So I spread a little oil on the wafers, and the rest of the oil goes into the chalas. Because the wafers are very thin. He cooler rikikin, but if it's all rikikin, what do you do with it? What do you do? So we learned earlier, what do you do with the leftover oil? Well, it depends. If it's a combination of chas rikikin, the leftover oil goes to the chas. If there's only rikikin, the leftover oil goes to the kohanim. Here, I don't know if it's a combination or not. What should I do? Says the one Yehuda. You go like Shimon Yehuda over there that we learned then. The time of Shimon Yehuda, he said Rabbi Shimon, you even when you have a combination of chals or kikim, you make a little spread of oil. Kimin ki is the shape of a right. There was machlekes. What does exactly mean ki? It's either an L shape, that's the L shape, or a U shape, or an X shape. That's a different machine of the Rishonim. You make a shape with the oil. And the rest goes to kohanim. So according to Shimon Yehuda, there's no difference if it's a combination of chals or rikikim or it's only rikikim. In all cases, you do a little bit of a spread, and the rest goes to the kohanim. So therefore here I have no problems. What is the Gemara basically saying? The Gemara is saying when a person is not sure in which mincha he's going to bring. So you have 5 different options. You have seilis, you have machmas, you have macheshes, you have chalos, you have rikikim. According to Abban, you bring all 5 and you're good to go. But according to Shimon, there is an option of making a combination of all. So except bringing these 5, how do I have to bring something a combination? So there's 9 different options of combination that could be, and he has to bring that as well. That's what one wanted to say at the beginning. Says the Gemara, no, I have another solution. Just bring 2 and have it tonight. If it's either or, so have either or. And if it's chalas alone, kiki alone, I have that. Or if it's a combination, so I have that as well because I'm doing it tonight, whatever it is. Said the Gemara, okay, if you're doing it tonight, what are you going to do with the kmitza? So don't worry about the kmitza. Kmitza for one works at both. What do I do with oil? That's what the Gemara ended. Or it says I have a solution because the oil you work in the same way. What about the issue that meaning one is starting from 2 or one look from 2? So the Gemara according to Shimon, that's fine. So we have a solution of Tanoim according to this shita to answer Shimon, and that's what we end the sugya. The Gemara now goes on to back to the Mishnah. According to Shimon, that's I solve it. They could bring 5 menachos even according to his shita. Say Gemara by say, Shekayach, Kol Tuv, have a wonderful day.